made my decision. And you know what I'm gonna do? We're gonna talk about the biggest thing that's taking over the news world. The women's USA roster for Paris was announced, and somebody was left off this team by the name of Caitlin Clark. Now, show you the squad. We have here AJ Wilson, Brianna Stewart, Sabrina Nescu, Kelsey Plum, Brittany Garner, Jude Lloyd, Diane Taurasi, Chelsea Gray, Letitia Collier, Alicia Thomas, Jackie Young, and Kalia Collins. I have my set of things I want to get into because I did make a post that I was going to piss some people off. That might not be the case anymore because I had to sit back and think about everything. But before I do that, my man Kuma Kane has some things he's going to say first.
See, I wanted to hear what Playmaker had to say first, but that's okay because I've been ready for this one. So,
you stay ready.
several different ways we can go on this. But let's go a realistic way. All the Clark sexuals, these are not WNBA fans. These aren't the people that are saying like, hey, because of who she is, maybe having her would be good. But these are the Clark sexuals. And you know why you're Clark sexuals? To say that she deserved a spot is ridiculous. It's asinine. It's ludicrous. She has played a portion of a season, and while she's had some good games, she's had bad games. Defensively, she is lacking. And if you don't want to agree with the fact that she's lacking defensively, don't respond to me because I ain't even listening to you if you don't first acknowledge the fact that on the other side of the ball, where you win and lose games, she's a non-factor. So you pair that up with the fact that all the other rookies, no one else made the team as well. The 12 ladies that made this roster, you can even bust it down even more. Name a guard that made this roster that Caitlin Clark should take the spot of. There isn't one. And if you want to go for performance or popularity, let me explain something to you. Caitlin Clark has a tremendous fan base who are very strong fans of her. It's all good. Caitlin Clark has brought in people that don't really watch the sport. But she's not good enough at this point in her career, not forever, at this point in her career to be a real contributor on this team. Let's say, for instance, a guard gets hurt, right? Somebody tried to have this argument earlier. Should she be an alternate? No, she shouldn't. The second leading scorer in the WNBA is not even on this roster. But y'all want to whine and complain that a rookie who had her best game of the season against the worst team, bar none, in the WNBA, deserves a spot because people watch her. So now we're giving spots not on merit, not on what you've done in the season, not on how you fit on an actual team, but because people want to watch you. Y'all disgust me. You make me sick. You make me want to barf with this garbage. We should not be sitting here having long conversations about a rookie who struggled just because people want to watch her should be part of the Olympic team. Now, by the time we move back around here in 4 years, Caitlin Clark will be a face of the WNBA, no doubt about it. She may not be the face, but she will be a face of the WNBA. And I don't doubt that. And I'm not saying that she's not. But you want to put her on the Olympic team because, we should put the best player on there. Mr. Nick Knight himself wants to fall up under this. And see, a lot of people that fall under this are people who didn't watch the WNBA this year. As Monica McNutt said to you, sir, 3 years ago, you could have been talking WNBA and put them on the map, and you didn't. But what you want to do now is you want to act like you've been watching. You haven't. That's why you haven't been talking about it. You have these women on that are knowledgeable for the WNBA topics, and then you just play off of them and get up there and yell and do your shtick. But actual knowledge of the game, you are a knowledgeable individual, but not on something you haven't paid attention to. And that's why you got mad at Monica McNutt. And since she kind of put you in your place, we hadn't seen her on the show, so it already tells us who was right and who was wrong. Because if she was wrong, she'd be back. But because she was right, you got sensitive. You turned into Carl Thomas for a few minutes. That's why she hadn't been back home. Digression aside, The point is, there are a lot of people who people would like to see that don't make Olympic teams. A lot of people who have played better at the guard position than Caitlin Clark that have not made this team. If you put someone on the team because people watch them and not because they're one of the best 12 players or because they would work better with the other 11 players that's there, that's what's laughable. That's when people should be attacked. Don't you dare try to attack Don State and that committee for not acquiescing to ridiculous and asinine pressure and putting somebody that's not prepared. No, we are not going to do that. We're going to applaud them for saying, you know what, everything aside, we looked at this from the perspective of what's going to be the best team to continue the domination. Because let me tell you something else. The rest of the world is catching up. Women's and men's basketball. The rest of the world is catching up. They're not laying down for the women. The women have been dominant and they want to continue the dominance. How do you continue the dominance? The 12 best people. And keep in mind, 12 best people. This is not 15. This is not the men. This is the women. 12 best people go. You want to bring up Christian Laettner. At that time, men's basketball had to have a college player. That's what people failed to put out in history. They had to have a college player. That's why Christian Laettner was on that team. You want to complain the greatest scorer in college wasn't on this team. She hasn't done that in the pros. And guess who she's playing overseas? She's not playing college players. She would be playing pros. She's not ready yet. But when she gets ready, she's going to show us. She's just not ready yet.
Ooh, that's it. That's all you got.
That's all I got. There's more, but I'm going to leave it there.
You going to leave it there?
I'm going to leave it there. She's not ready yet.
Yeah, we want you to leave it there.
No, she's just not ready yet. Maybe after you go, I might feel a little fire inside again. It needs to be quenched, but that's all for now.
Oh boy! All right. Oh darn! All right. Let me get myself back on this screen here. All right. So before I do that, we got a comment here. Kevin says, I'm all for Clayton Carr getting the break, but didn't Breanna Stewart get put on her Rikia? So now these three, I picked these three ladies because one, obviously Caitlin Clark is the focal point of all this, right? Two, you just mentioned who's the second scorer in all of the WNBA?
Arike Agumawale.
She's the one that's at the bottom. You see the 26.4 points per game, shooting 36% from the field, 30% from three, you know, all that. And then I thought about how they put Team USA women together, right? I was like, who else would be considered? Oh, how about somebody who's already been an Olympian, who has one gold, and is back from a year off in Skylar Diggins-Smith. Caitlin Clark might have better numbers than her, but it ain't that much better. So we'll be talking just guards, right? Because the question is, are we really going to see Chelsea Gray in the Olympics? Because she ain't played 1 second of the season yet. She ain't played 1 second yet.
Just like Kawhi Leonard. Can't even get on the floor to play in the playoffs, but y'all expect him to be on the basketball team for the Olympics.
So I just chose these three because I think these are the next three will be in line for guards. Okay, for guards. Now I will say this: the report has come out. Caitlin Clark is one of the alternates, along with Brianna Jones. So if Chelsea Gray doesn't play, Caitlin Clark will get that spot. That's what it seems like. When I made the post that I was going to piss some people off, I had one thought in mind. Correct? But as Cool would tell you, I'm the one who likes to look at all sides, right? I had to think about it. I said, okay. Basketball-wise, hell no, Caitlin Clark don't deserve to be on this team. Do you want to show you this? Maybe do we show you this team again? We talking strictly basketball. Who is she going to replace outside of Chelsea Gray? Some of y'all say Diana Taurasi. Y'all must not know. Ever since Diana Taurasi stepped foot in the WNBA, she's been nothing but winning gold. But there's a caveat to that. About me saying that. Okay. I mean, let's look at the guards. We talking Sabrina Ionescu, Kelsey Plum, Jewel Lloyd, Diana Taurasi, Chelsea Gray, Jackie Young, and Khalil Khan. All them guards. All of them guards, right? Remember, Enrique Gomorrah is the second leading scorer of all the WNBA right now. She didn't make the team. But you know what? I figured it out. Now that I'm thinking about it, now that I had to do my research and look back on it, people like Stephen A. and Shannon Sharp, you know what they doing? They already projecting gold. They're saying, what country can beat the United States on the women's side? What country is that? Why not put Caitlin Clark on for marketing ability? People want to see Caitlin Clark. Here's the other thing, though. And Jared Carter brought this up on First Take today. If you put Caitlin Clark on the team, how many minutes she's going to get with this roster? Then what's going to be the talking point? Why is Caitlin Clark not getting minutes? Do you not see the freaking roster? Let me show you the roster again. If you put Caitlin Clark on this team, what type of minutes she's going to get with this roster? See, it's a tricky thing here when it comes to this. You put Caitlin Clark on for media and marketability, which is pretty much what the WNBA wants, right? The WNBA wants the money, right? They want the money, they want the market and all that stuff. You put Caitlin Clark on. Here's the problem, though. When you look at this roster, cool. How many minutes does Caitlin Clark get?
Some games, none. Possibly maybe like 5 a game at the most.
I'm just saying. Just think about it.
Not a lot of minutes.
Let me get Kevin in here. Kevin says, I think a Groomer Rider should have gotten it over Taurasi. Taurasi is a legacy pick, just like Larry Bird. I can agree with that. Because that's the first person that came to my mind is like, where's Ogumawale at? Where is she at? Oh, she didn't make the team. He also says Enrique has one of the highest defensive ratings this season. I mean, I think even with me and Koo saying it, I think Kevin made our points very validly when it comes to Enrique Gomorrah, correct?
Yes.
But let's go with the marketability side for it, right? Cool. Let's go that route, all right? Number 1 overall picks to play for Team USA as rookies. 04, Diana Taurasi. Team won gold. 2008, Candace Parker. The team won gold. 2016, Breanna Stewart. Team won gold. So it's not out the realm of possibility to put Caitlin Clark on this team. Especially if the consumption is they're going to win gold no matter what. Correct?
I disagree with that.
Okay. Make sure disagreement.
So, Diana Taurasi was not a. You know what? No, I'm not cutting no corners. I'm getting it raw. Diana Taurasi was physical, and she wasn't pushed around and beat up and physicalized her first few months in the league. And she got hit, but she got up. She was a way more like Angel Reese than Caitlin Clark. Candace Parker. We don't even need to talk about Candace Parker as a rookie. We know what she was doing as a rookie. She earned that spot. And Breanna Stewart. Come on now. I don't care who you are. If you go and do your history of college basketball and WNBA rookies, The three ladies you see on this screen right now were on a different level than Caitlin Clark is right now. I don't care about stats. You go watch the games and watch them play. They were prepared and ready for that. Caitlin Clark is not right now. We see that in the games. We see that in the turnovers. Her own teammates don't even go over and defend her. But you want to put on a team where these women ain't going to go and defend her either. And where she's going to get 3 to 5 minutes a game at the most, probably, if she's on the team. And there's already animosity because she got one of the biggest shoe deals in history before she even played a game in the WNBA. You got to take these things into account when you're building your team. And I'm not saying you say, oh, we're not going to put her on because people don't like her, but you have to look at, as a point guard, how good is she? Like, seriously speaking, I ain't talking about numbers. I ain't talking about who's going to watch her, but as a basketball person, as a point guard, how good is Caitlin Clark? And let's be real. Say you go, Caitlin Clark gets hurt playing Olympic basketball. Every Clark sexual in the world is going to bomb the internet and complain. All the casual fans, Caitlin Clark shouldn't have been playing. You know, she's new. She needed time, and she's been playing for months, and she needed a break, and a break would have helped her. And now she's hurt, blah, 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 and it's going to hurt the league. It is going to hurt the league if she gets hurt playing overseas. Can she get hurt? Oh, yes, she can. She's not physical.
It's a physical game overseas.
Yes, she's not prepared for that physicality. She's complaining and just starting to say something about the little physicality she's getting in WNBA. And I say little because it's only a small portion of what you get overseas.
And the funny thing is, the response from Team USA was that they don't want to deal with all y'all complaining about the minutes she was going to get. Cool, that's she probably going to get 3 to 5 minutes.
Yeah, reportedly, that was the thing. I just think she wasn't good enough to go yet. Like, personally.
Oh, and by the way, you know what? I'm going to say my other points, which is actually going to back up my original point.
Oh, go ahead.
But yeah. Well, you want to do marketability? Go ahead and put Caitlin Clark on there, because you know what? I mean, this is a bad example, in my opinion, to use. But people have been using it. Why was Isaiah Thomas scratched from the 92 Olympic team?
Because Michael Jordan and Scottie Pippen and several people didn't want him on the team.
And who did everybody want to see at the Olympics from Team USA?
Michael Jordan.
So people want to use that as, you see the men, they put Michael Jordan on the team because they knew it was going to sell. People want to see MJ. Oh, granted, people do want to see Caitlin Clark. But if you look at that roster, how many minutes she's going to get? And then y'all going to be playing how many minutes she got. But you're not looking at the fact that that roster is stacked. That is a loaded roster. Am I lying? So my problem, cool calls you cart sexual, my problem with people who are tuning into the WNBA, y'all not doing y'all homework. Because y'all see somebody who happen to be a white girl who can shoot, I ain't gonna say shoot, who has the ability to shoot similar to Steph Curry, and that's what y'all want to see. Without taking into account what could happen to her. Not looking at the competition she was going up against going into the WNBA. And now I'm not taking into account of the freaking roster that is and saying to yourself, well, with this kind of roster, how many minutes she's going to play? Because she ain't starting, that's for damn sure. And she ain't the sixth movement off the bench. I can guarantee you that.
She would be the last guard off the bench. And heaven forbid she's on the team and say they get over there and they actually need her to play and they have to pull an alternate and they need her to play. If she go out there and start turning the ball over and getting beat up.
What she's leading the WNBA in, by the way.
Yeah. We talk about everything that she does offensively, but we don't talk about her lack of defensive proficiency whatsoever or the fact that she turns the ball over at a record-setting rate either. Because see, those aren't happy things about Caitlin Clark. So we don't want to talk about those. You got to be fair. If you're gonna talk about all the good, you got to point out the things that she got to improve into. Physicality is number one on the list of things, and she got to want it on defense. I'm not saying she got to be the best defender in the league, but you got to be more than a matador cape when it comes to defense.
And let me put Kevin coming back up here because this is what I'm going to go to next. He said, I'm afraid. He said, I am all for Caitlin Clark getting the break. That's my next slide. Because I want y'all Caitlin Clark fans to see this. Her senior season started in November 6th of 2023. She played in the national championship game on April 2024. How many months we talking about? So December, January, February, March, April. That's already 5 months of basketball Caitlin Clark has gone through from the beginning of the college season to the national championship, right? The very next week after the national championship game, which they lost to South Carolina, by the way, it's the WNBA draft, who she went first overall, correct? Then a couple of weeks later, WNBA preseason game, which she played at Dallas on May 3rd.
And you got to remember, after the draft, she went back to Indiana, and she had to, get the preseason started, training camp.
Oh, and by the way, just for y'all who probably forgot, the reason why y'all forgot, the women's side had a tryouts. Caitlin Clark couldn't go to the tryout because she was too busy trying to win the national championship. Remember that? The Final Four and the USA trial was at the same time. She had to pick one or the other. Her team made it to the Final Four. She wasn't finna abandon her team. It's possible Caitlin Clark for that.
So what you're telling me is she didn't even do what it takes to qualify because she was trying to get a championship. I'm not knocking her for, but she didn't go through the correct provocations or things to be actually on the team as well. But we're not going to talk about that because Caitlin Clark.
We can call it. We can call it an excuse absence because she was busy handling other obligations.
I'm just saying she wasn't there. So what I'm saying is, technically speaking, if you have two people that are equal, one person was at the camp and one person wasn't, you would go with the person that's not at the camp because of who it is. It's basically what most of America wants us to do.
In some cases, depending on what that person at the camp did. And then
the camp,
I know. I say in some cases. That's why I say so.
They won't be there.
And then we talking 11 days after preseason, her WNBA season started at the Kinetic Sun. And guess what? Her last game before the Olympic break is July 17th when they go to Dallas. So how many months of basketball are we talking about for Caitlin Clark?
Eight straight months. It looks like
anybody want to say how many months we're talking about?
It looks like about 8 to 9, almost 9 months of straight basketball to me.
That girl has been playing.
I'm not the
That girl has been playing basketball for 8 months. It's only 12 months in the calendar year.
Yeah, almost 9. Because you think about it, she started November 6th, and she won't get a break until July 17th, so almost 9. Really about 8.5.
8 months of basketball. My original reason for her not being it, because she needs to break. Get away from all y'all. That means people who like her, people who don't. Get away from all y'all. This girl has been the headline for 8 months. And guess what? A lot of people don't want to give credit. I don't want to say don't give her this, but they don't say it. And Caitlin Clark has done all 8 months professionally. She has handled all this attention that she's getting professionally. I think she needs a break. And she gets a month break, which is going to be needed for her. Because I know at some point in time, this is mentally draining her. Because I know even though all the fame is, all the attention is good, at some point you're like, man, can y'all go a day without talking about me, please? That's all I'm saying. This girl has been playing basketball for 8 months. And to my opinion, I don't know who might disagree with me. In my opinion, her playing basketball since November might be another problem reason why she's having more turnovers than she usually has.
I mean, we're gonna see. I think a lot of it has to do with
On top of her going to the next level, but I'm saying like
well, I mean, I think a lot of it has to do with in college, a lot of the games she wasn't really tested. Like, let's be real. Let's not sit here and act like at Iowa she was playing top notch programs every week. And I'm not saying this to knock her, but I'm just saying you got to be realistic. Like we talk about everybody else and the good and the bad sides, right? But I feel like a lot of times with Caitlin Clark, we only focus on what she does well and how this should propel her to this, and she should get this because she's doing this, and that's cool. But we also have to admit there was a step up from level to level, but there was also a step up even if she were in college and she was playing in like the Pac-12 right last year, or she was playing the women's ACC conferences that had a lot of really strong teams. If she was in the women's SEC, right? Those conferences had a higher level of defensive focus, strategy, and teams that she was facing at Iowa. And again, she can't control that, but I'm saying we have to take that into account. I'm not saying it as a negative, but more so as a keep in mind. So she's also going against more athletic ladies at every turn now, based on what she was playing in college. Because there were games when you saw Iowa play in college, you're like, oh, they about to dust them. She go out there and score 30. You're not surprised because the team was not prepared for that. You're not facing that now. Even a team like Washington played you hard. The worst team in the WNBA could probably spank any team, including the national champs in college. So you got to take that into account as well. And I think people need to understand. And I'm not saying, I said it before, it's not that she'll never get there, but y'all got to relax on acting like she's already there. She's not there yet. She's looking better as we go from game one to now. She does look better. And I'm not giving her props. I'm just saying, let's not pretend that those things aren't going to happen at levels. Angel Reese looks better than she did her first game. Carmela Cardoza, she's not looking too good, but this is only that was only like her second or third game. Because it takes time. Time and getting used to it, learning your space, different players, different schemes, speed of the game, intelligence level from players. All those things increase when you go from level to level. So it's going to be a struggle for all the rookies. This is not a Caitlin Clark themed logic. She's just the one everybody wants to hear about. But everybody's struggling to an extent because you're rookies and it takes time.
Kevin said, I'm giving Clark a break on the turnovers. And the 11 games I watched, I haven't seen a defensive focus on one player since Jordan. My only pushback to that is that's coaching. That's coaching. Because Coach Sy has not figured out a way for her two best players to go in the WNBA. Because if we're being honest, we're being 100, right? Who won a Rookie of the Year last year?
We know who won Rookie of the Year last year. The forgotten girl in Indiana.
Aaliyah Boston.
Aaliyah Boston, the forgotten woman.
Who's going to win Rookie of the Year this year?
Unless she get hurt, Caitlin Clark.
So, Coach Sy, maybe you need to figure out how to get your two soon-to-be Rookie of the Years to work as a duo. Because if you can get them to work as a duo, you might have a better season. That's coaching. That's all I'm gonna say on that. That's coaching.
I don't think it's just coaching though, right? I don't argue that coaching has a part of it because I don't ever believe anything like that. Coaching doesn't have a part of it, but also you're a point guard, Caitlin Clark, and this is another thing. We talk about some of those guards. Some of those guards aren't point guards. We're asking her to go and lead a point and be a point guard, be the distributor for Team USA. And she's struggling with turnovers. And you can give her a pass all you want, but it's happening. So whether you give her a pass, whether you don't give her a pass, the turnovers are there and they're consistent. It's not like 10 turnovers one night and no turnovers last night. She's consistently turning the ball over. Is that who you want on a platform where the world's going to see her still learning? I would say no. It's to protect her as much as it is that other people are better. This is a protection for Caitlin Clark. And I mean, I understand Clark sexuals can't understand that. But you let her develop, you let her be right. So by the time she hits the Olympic stage, she's ready to get the ball running. She may be a starter in 4 years on the Olympic team, or at least the first backup guard off the bench. May not be the sixth person, but seventh or whatever. You know what I'm saying? So that's what I would rather see her happen. Because if you really want her to be the face of the WNBA, don't put her in situations where she may not look as good as you want her to look. And then there's the question that was asked earlier today by an ex-WNBA player. If she goes and say she has a great Olympic performance, does that necessarily translate into more dollars for the WNBA? And the answer to that is it may or may not. Because those audiences watching, let's say you're from another country, right? The Caitlin Clark that you're going to get over there, what do we say, 3 to 5 minutes a game? That's not worth you going back to your country and watching her and finding a way to watch Caitlin Clark. You know what I'm saying? But if you wait, let her do her thing in WNBA, let her grow and develop, then again, when her time comes to hit the Olympic team, and I don't doubt she will be there multiple times, 3, maybe 4 in the future, because her style of play, she can play a long time. She's not going inside a lot. She's not driving. She's more of a jump shooter. I don't say that she's anywhere in the same realm, but she's the same type of player as Steph Curry in that she's mostly a shooter and a passer. And if she goes inside, you expect her to pass, or maybe she gets to the basket, she shoot a little layup or a floater or something. And she's not going to ever be, I don't believe, strong on defense, but she can be a lot better. She can put some effort in on that side. So what I'm really saying is let's wait until we have a better version of Caitlin Clark. This is a logical thing, so I know a lot of y'all don't want to hear logic. That's a dirty word. I'm cursing. Logic. Let's have the best version of Caitlin Clark appear on the international scene. We don't have that yet either.
Kevin says, Aaliyah Boston is looking mid to me. Boston has way more to prove than Caitlin Clark.
Really? So a rookie of the year's got more to prove than a new player. Wow. That's what I mean, and he doesn't have to be technically a Clark sexual, but that's what I mean. Like, it's everybody else. It's not the person that should be delivering the ball and getting the rookie of the year in the game. It's everybody else. It's the coach. It's Aaliyah Boston. It's the defense. It's the game planning. But it's never that Caitlin Clark needs to do a better job of trying to develop chemistry with Aaliyah Boston and make sure that she's that second scorer at least, so that less pressure is on her. None of that is Caitlin Clark's fault. I just find that crazy. If that was a men's player, we would be all over him for doing the same exact thing. Would we not? We would dog him for coming in and taking over somebody's team and then being inefficient, turning the ball over and not getting that person involved, like they forgot how to play in the offseason. And now it's their fault that they need to prove more than somebody who they've already been a dominant force in the league with a better passing point guard. But she's the one that's got to prove more. I just find that laughable. I just unbelievable. Unbelievable.
So for me, I kept this slider because I want y'all to see the timeline of Caitlin Clark's basketball journey. 8 months, almost 9 months of straight basketball. There's not a time where she had to get away, to relax, recuperate, look at what's happened. What can she has never had time to do any of that because we want to keep throwing her in every single thing there is. And here, you know, the funny thing is, here's the funny thing. I'm cool. So if you want to market the WNBA because Caitlin Clark's on the Olympic team, go for it. I don't think it'll be that efficient because I don't see her getting I don't see her getting a lot of minutes on Team USA. That team is stacked. That's just me. Okay. And by the way, those of you probably asking, let me go down this list. I might be helping the marketing people with their side on this one. Okay, cool. Just let you know, I might be helping that side out. All right.
Your show.
1996, the USA had a point differential of plus 168. 2000, point differential of plus 124. 2004, the year Diana Taurasi was part of the team, plus 145 point differential. 2008, Candace Parker year, plus 215 point differential. 2012, plus 183 in point differential. 2016, the Breanna Stewart year, plus 204 point differential. And then in 2020, when we had that COVID year and then we still did the Olympics in Tokyo, a plus 37 point differential. I went all the way back to 1996. And still the point differential doesn't exceed more, doesn't go less than 37. Meaning
And that's overall or per game. You saying per game?
overall.
Overall. Okay. And how many games did they play in the Olympics?
So I think you usually get 3 to 5 preliminary games that you got the knockout stage. So you're talking about anywhere to like eight, maybe 10 games.
So normally it's been about 10 for the USA, right? Because they've been in the championship, right?
Yeah.
So you take their highest point differential, which was what, 180?
The
Like
highest
said,
one was
year
in
like
2008 when it was 215.
All right, so we'll take the 215 and let's divide that by 10 because we'll say they played 10 games, right? That's just pretty fair. So in their best year, they were outscored on an average teams by 21.5, right? That's a solid. It's pretty solid, right? 21.5 points average. So that means there's some teams that you spanking badly, and there's some teams that are right now with you. Well, let's think about those years where it's like 100. The last time was like 30 something, right? That's a lot less. It's a lot of that point per game. So it's not as much as I've been telling people. I'm not saying that there's not teams that they're going to go out there and beat by 20 or 30 points, because there are. But there are some teams that can stick with USA, right? There are some. And they don't beat them, but they're not getting blown out. So the point I'm making is even in the best year, you were beating teams by like 22 points, which is average. We just run up to 22. That's an average. So there were some teams you were beating by 30 or 40, which means there were some teams that were closer. So the only point that I want to make off the numbers, since we're using the numbers, is the best season Team USA had, they were winning by 22 points more per game. Some of the lesser seasons, down to like 3.7 points per game. So you see that gap there from 21 points to 3.7 points.
That was a COVID year too, so a lot.
It was a COVID year. It was a COVID year for everybody. It wasn't just a COVID year for US.
I know. I'm saying a lot went on that year. A lot.
So, but so COVID didn't just happen in the United States. COVID actually got to the United States later. It was actually in other places first. So what I'm just saying is it was an even playing field. It's not like the US had COVID and nobody else did. You know what I'm saying? So I don't take away from the Lakers championship because they won the COVID, because everybody else got a chance to play. The only thing I do say about the championship, and it's factual information, since we're talking about the COVID thing, the Lakers were able to get Anthony Davis and LeBron James healthy because they had that break. Anthony Davis was just like Anthony Davis in street clothes, but you had to break because of COVID, so he was able to get healthy, get back to health, and LeBron James was able to rest that older body, heal up some little minor injuries. I'm not knocking anyone. I'm just saying that those are true facts. So when we talk about COVID, it affected everybody the same. There wasn't like one party that was over affected. So just like the US had to get out there and play games and do stuff with other things happening, every other country did too. So I don't see where that's like, to me, a difference in that year and any other year. Now, if they were out there beating people by 200 that year, And it's like, okay, the world's not catching up. But it seems like not there, not able to beat them, because I don't think anybody's going to beat Team USA. But I think we're over evaluating how great Team USA is versus the world now, because the rest of the women's world is catching up to an extent. Right? You got a lot of WNBA players that are now from other countries who are going to be playing for other countries. It's not like everybody in the WNBA is in the US and everybody's playing for like little small leagues overseas. There are a lot of WNBA players that are from other countries that are going to be playing for those countries too. So it's going to be a smaller, in my opinion, gap.
I'm going to say this. Whether she's on the team or not, don't worry about it. Because what I want y'all to remember this. Listen to me clearly when I say this. In 4 years, in 2028, where are the Olympics at? They will be here in the United States in Los Angeles, California. Keep that in mind. Just in case they don't need an alternate and Caitlin Clark can't be a part of the team. Just know in 4 years, Caitlin Clark can don the U.S. jersey in the home country.
That's going to be a great debut for her too. And I'm not saying this because I mean, I don't hate her, right? That's going to be a great debut for her. And I think you're going to see a couple more of these rookies that are going to be on that team with her. Because another thing is, this is true too. And we've talked about this before, Playmaker. I don't know if we talked about it here or not. These veteran ladies in the WNBA have to learn you got to move out of the young people way. Certain people are going to get a spot as long as they last, whether they deserve it or not. So once they start to move out of the way of the younger people, and they start really picking the people based on who plays well, which this newer generation of players, you don't have, like, you got Asia Wilson at the top, like, no doubt about that. But once you get past Asia Wilson, it's not as many players that you're like, oh, young players that you're like, oh, they got to be in, they got to be in, they got to be in, right? It's more like they're good, but if they don't have a good time that year or they don't have a good showing at camp, somebody might take their spot. So I'm excited for the future of the WNBA because we're going to have more controversy. We're going to have more, this person didn't make it, and they did these stats, and this person is making it, and this young rookie didn't make it. It's going to happen more because as things go on and the players get better, this is 4 more years of young girls that are now just starting high school. Right?
And guess what? And
they'll be able to play in the Olympics next time.
And guess what? Crazy thing to wrap this up. In 4 years, Paige Beckers will be in the WNBA. Juju Watson will be in the WNBA. Flossie Johnson will be in the WNBA.
Haley Van Lith will be in the WNBA if she can stay healthy.
Hey, Haley Van Lith part of the 3-on-3 with Cameron Brett and Ryan Howard. So I'm looking forward to them to bring home gold.
Yeah, that's a fun 3-on-3 team.
Something just be cool. Cuss early, I'm gonna cuss now. Be patient.
Dirty words.
Be patient. Patience is a virtue. You gotta use it. Remember, in 4 years, we host the Olympics
in LA. Guess who's gonna be on that team? Cameron Brink gonna be on that team.
Cameron Brink, Angel Reese, Enrique Gomorale, LaFisha Collier, because I don't think she ain't stopping no time soon.
My girl from I always forget her name. The other girl from she's nice too. I can't remember.
I expect Juju to be on that team.
Juju's gonna be on that team, I think. Yeah. It's gonna be fun.
Just be patient. It's all right. It's all right. Let her get a month off, okay? She been playing basketball for almost 9 months straight. Let her get a month off.
Yeah.
Let her take a break.
She ain't even as mad about it as the Clark sexuals are.
No, she's not. Now, I will say this. I happy what she did say. She's going to use it as motivation, which you should do when you're a player.
Yeah.
Use it as
motivation. If you don't get a chance to play on the third reserve team against the All Stars before they go over there, right? You should use that as motivation. Absolutely. Everything that happened to you, if your drink ain't full that day, that should be motivation for you. Like for real, if you are a competitive person, and you should be at that level, if you out of town, like say you visit in Dallas, right? And you're Caitlin Clark, and you go to Whataburger and your drink is only 2/3 full when you get it. Oh, y'all gonna try to slight me because you know who I am? Okay, I'm gonna show them tonight how my drink should be full. Like for real, it should be that serious. That's how you become great.